Even though this game doesn't have the most active community, it does get a lot of reciprocated fan treatment on account of its fan service. It's a format that people really like. 4 of your favourite characters shooting the wind in a low-key environment while off the clock. So many parodies have been made for it, and a good number of them have gone quite far. None so far as to essentially remake the game and produce a spiritual successor, yet, but there's been plenty of discussion regarding potential future lineups. Some of the most notable and recent examples include the Nerds of a Feather video envisioning Poker at the Inventory Free, the Poker Z series, and the Poker Free project, and all of these are worth checking out, but there's probably a lot that I'm missing. However, I'm sure you're all familiar with the fun that fan casting can bring.
It's just no better than to let Rusty anywhere near a poker table.
Speculating with regards to lineups is always enjoyable, and making conversations between disparate characters makes for some interesting outcomes. As we've seen though, acquisition of these licenses is usually reliant on Telltale having already established some sort of clear connection with the intellectual property holder beforehand.
I guess I could join your team of ruthless killers and lame hat wearers and watch you get grenaded by 8-year-olds.
We should also note that on my previous video, Jake Rodkin commented that if the studio were to ever make a third game, lead writer Mike Stemmle would have wanted an all-female cast. So I asked Stemmle directly what kinds of characters he was thinking of for another sequel.
Although I can't reliably recall any specifics, given our relationship with Borderlands at the time, we would have been crazy not to use Tiny Tina, Mad Moxie, or Fiona. I would have agitated to add Elaine Marley or Morgan LaFleur from Monkey Island. Aside from those two, the sky was really the limit.
That fills at least 2 seats then, someone from the Borderlands again, and a newcomer from Monkey Island, ready to play rather than host. As we also know from Kevin Bruner's discussion regarding Sam and Max's appearance in Poker 2, they'd probably return in some form for a third game. It was the most fan service the studio could spare for the duo. Neither of them are female, or perhaps Max is. That's a discussion for another time.
Knock it off, Max. You don't even like whatever gender that is.
Call me.
And they've both had a seat at the table before, so while they might have made a cameo, they probably wouldn't be playing. It does leave the door open for someone like Mama Bosco, Stinky, or Sybil to take their place though. Placing our final character at the table is a little more difficult. Telltale had worked with quite a lot of different companies over the 5-year period after Poker 2, including Warner Brothers, Mojang, and Marvel. They'd famously adapted the Fables comics as well, and could have invited someone from the Wolf Among Us universe. It only feels right for at least one of our participants to be from a Valve game, since that's happened twice already, and these games are firmly attached to Team Fortress 2.
My cards are better than yours. Don't cry. It is better to just hide in shame.
And there's actually a lot of good options from their department. Alex would be a good pick, given that she's had the most recent video game treatment by the company. TF2's Miss Pauling is obviously a prime candidate since she gives out loot for a living, and the inventory is all about the bounties. We could go even further back though, and bring Zoe or Rochelle from the Left 4 Dead series instead. Not much reason to promote them right now, but they do have plenty to talk about.
I ever tell you about the time my buddy Ellis stole a race car from the mall and drove it over some zombies?
No, I haven't heard that one.
It's the question that's been hotly discussed to no end, but now we know what it might have actually looked like. Well, not really. Only if Mike Stemmle was working on it, and if it was rebooted by the old Telltale staff. Personally, I want a Poker Night with some Grickle characters, although I don't think there's much demand for that. Would certainly be an eccentric roster though.
Ooh, I'm gonna make some hot dish for you later.
A hot dish?
Oh, you'll love it. I've never met a man who didn't love himself some hot dish.